on and So it's a very tough question, but it has to do with behavior. Until we all begin to see ourselves, as you said, Japa, people are running out of the system. I can't stay because if I can't see any way forward. But we need to begin to see ourselves as a people. I was in a class and we were discussing, these people from India, what brings them together? They say, our culture. This one will say our language. This one, music. And then they came to Nigeria and they said it's jollof rice. And then it was a whole argument. How dare we? Who said Ghana? So we need to begin to think ourselves as Nigerians, as stakeholders. If it doesn't affect you, it's going to affect your brother. It's going to affect your sister. It's going to affect. Recently, I always thought Abuja was a very safe place until someone called me and said my car stopped on the road just at Jabiye, and all of a sudden people came out and they attacked them. So Abuja is not that safe. So you might think the problem is far away, but it's closer than we think. So we are all stakeholders, and until we begin to understand that, and don't think the problem is always with leadership. We are always the president. But when you are breaking that traffic light, when you are signing that memo in your office, so we need to begin to see ourselves, each and everyone, in your own little space, in your own little corner. How can I be a part of the success story of this country? Until we come to that point, I think it's going to be a very long and difficult question.
Thank you, Siaka. You wanted to speak? After you, I'll take Ahmad, and then we'll go to the final section.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I think the PAMSEC has actually answered the question. He has said it involves everybody. Ultimately, that's it. But if it involves everybody, then to achieve it, in the Nigerian climb, there needs to be a cultural shift, which still ties into the behavioral aspect you spoke about. That way, you have your own little space, like Uchechi said. You make changes in your little space, and then that gradually creates a culture or a tribe of people, ultimately looking at a particular objective. I think that answers it for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Ahmad.
So, I'm inclined to start with crawling before flying. Right. An ecosystem does not exist out of different components that do not do their jobs. An ecosystem is a collection of systems that are already working independently, and then they start to interoperate. Right. So, if we cannot, in the power sector, create a reform mindset just within that silo that works, in the transportation sector, in the communication sector, repeat the same, and then bring leaders of those sectors that are doing those things well together, and then let them start exchanging, which brings me to my next point, exchanging knowledge. Then we're not creating an ecosystem, we're just creating a group of people that are sharing misery at the end of the day. So how do we then continue to create that atmosphere of reform, that reform mindset? I think we need a solid way to document our knowledge and then continue to pass it down. From the inception of Nigeria as a company, here alone, we've mentioned about four multiple types of reforms that have come and gone. While you were giving the synopsis of the playbook, you mentioned case studies of past reforms, the ones that have succeeded, the ones that have failed. What made them fail? What factors were present across board that caused them to succeed? There is no centralized repository for random people to access. Nigerians at the end of the day, before we're even government officials, before we're private sector practitioners, we are Nigerians. You and I do not know of a single platform where we can access that body of knowledge. And I think that's a problem. Those who forget the mistakes of the past are bound to repeat it anyway. So if every reform effort starts from scratch, then how do we move forward?
Yes, sir.
You asked two questions about how do you get people into the hall when you want to have stakeholders meeting. Just start. The cup is half full, not half empty. Unfortunately, because of our most recent experience, people always see the negative side of our country. Even when positive things are in front of you, you will be thinking of the negative that has not even happened. And this is how it is. A practical experience, you want to get stakeholders engagement on a particular issue that you want resolved. You call your team, you all identify based on your experience and knowledge, identify the stakeholders that should be involved. Send out the invitation out in good time and list the proposed stakeholders. If those stakeholders get it, some of them will get back to you. You haven't called Labour Congress, you haven't called TUC. But oftentimes, when we want to do stakeholders engagement, it is on Friday. We send invitation, everybody to arrive on Sunday, and then meeting starts on Monday morning. So if you give long notice, even those that you've invited, we get the other relevant people involved by reaching out to you. A practical example is this. There was a time, I think just about the time the last administration was leaving, they were arresting a lot of people for harvesting people's kidneys. That, they trick one person to one particular place, they put her to sleep, remove her kidney before she woke up. And then the question came, what is the federal government doing about it? I was a younger officer then, and my department has something to do with that. And we said, we don't even have a guideline on how people can donate, source for kidneys. If you have a relation that needs kidney transplant, you cannot go to the market and buy the kidney now, human kidney. You must get a donor. Then what are the rights of the donor? The rights of the recipient. Am I supposed to buy the kidney? Or am I supposed to just voluntarily donate the kidneys? All these issues were on the table. Everybody discussing in the newspaper. The minister called us and said, what are you folks doing? At that meeting, I had bosses. So I just said, sir, I think we should constitute an expert panel now. Get everybody's input within 2 weeks and bring out a draft guideline. Whether it's perfect or imperfect, at least we have a guideline. And before we knew it, in 1 month, they've invited other people, experts from the UK, US, Canada, India, joined virtually on our meetings. Today we have the guideline after 4 months. So getting stakeholders' involvement, don't get scared. Just start. That people even know that you did not invite certain people, it means you are doing something right. Then the next level of engagement, you invite the new people that have been introduced to you. One of the things that we need to do in our respective organizations, especially in the public sector, don't be afraid of moving your ideas forward. Don't ever be afraid. The first step may not be too good, but it's a learning experience rather than sleeping on your pillow and thinking of brilliant ideas. They are just ideas. Once you don't put them to task, you never know where you can get to. I thank you all. Please, you need to release me. I have another permanent secretary who will support you here.
Okay,
thank you
very
everybody
much,
for
sir.
this.
Thank you. Thank you. It's not addressed to him. The question is our question. So I'll give you 1 minute each to speak, and then we go to the last section, please. And then Fatima.
Just a very quick one. It's in addition to what has been said. And it boils down to communication, because I think the challenge we have in Nigeria is the challenge of communication. And even in human life, relationships, it's communications. Once you don't communicate, you can't make progress. Okay? So, and that brings me to what the PAMSEC said, bringing people. Most of the things we do in Nigeria, especially some of the reforms, we do not factor communication early. We do not mainstream communication from the policy formulation stage. Communication usually becomes an afterthought.
And then so some of these things you find out that what we do is reactive communication. And when you do reactive communication, you tend to scramble and respond to issues. Meanwhile, the core of the issues has not been addressed. So for me, we must strengthen all the institutions that are involved in that ecosystem to be able to perform their roles. Secondly, we must be deliberate as a nation to mainstream communication, to be able to address the concerns across all the fabrics, various nationalities, various sentiments, because everybody has got a language. If you don't speak their language, you won't have their attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fatima, please.
Yeah, thank you. In addition to what he has said about communication, I was going to talk about visibility. Now, so many public sector organizations are doing a lot of things within the organization. We have talent, we have super talent within the public sector, but it's not visible. Many people don't know what organizations are doing, actually. Do we have the dashboards that we can show to the public? So what is out there that people can see and tap from what the next person is doing? Or even seek guidance from what some other tell our success stories. What are the channels that we can, showcase our success stories so that other people can tap into them? Even if it means some exchange program that we can do across public sector organizations. We are all moving towards the same goal. It's one Nigeria, actually. So why can't we have something like that? But then we are all doing things within and not knowing where the expertise sit or where the success stories are. So that visibility needs to happen for all public sector organizations.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to our final section on commitments and next steps. So we've discussed a lot about why reforms have stalled in the past, where we've seen success, what made them succeed. We've gotten a brief on the reform playbook and the different areas that it talks about what helps reforms to succeed in Nigeria and Africa. And I will merge what you said with what the PS said. Don't be afraid of moving your ideas forward. And I'll add, and being visible. When you're doing things that are working, don't be afraid of showing them because your colleagues also need those guidelines to help you. So now for our final section, what is one thing you're willing to do differently or to push for as a result of this conversation? Uchechi, please.
I won't be afraid of bringing in stakeholders that will criticize. A lot of times we just want people who will agree with us. It's not, in fact, I used to I lead a department, I tell them that if everybody is saying yes to me, then I'm afraid something is wrong. I'm a team player, but I don't want OES teams. It doesn't help you get a balanced perspective. So even when we're inviting stakeholders for engagement, please, let's bring in people who will criticize it, who will tear it apart, so that you can now build up your convincing argument. We're talking about communication. Build your convincing argument and then see sides you did not. You cannot see 360 degrees. You need other people to see other perspectives. So I just want to challenge us. I'm challenging myself. When you're bringing your stakeholders, please bring those that will also criticize it. If everybody is saying, oh, good, then we're in trouble. Thank you.
Anybody? Khadijat, please.
I think from the perspective of somebody who doesn't work in government but work with government, I would say my commitment is that I won't get tired of driving reforms. Driving reforms is very stressful, especially for those of us that are not in government. When there's no political will, you get tired. But I mean, we have all come to the conclusion that we're not getting out of it. There's no other way. So I mean, my commitment would be that the reform efforts have to continue. If you don't win within this circle, you can win within another administration. And I think also, I'd like to also add that I would commit to doing more research and having like more more documents that somebody can pick, even if this particular administration is not interested. By the time the next person comes, we're not starting from the scratch, right? You're starting from somewhere, and then there's a document that you can use as a guide. So I think that would be it for me.
So for me, my commitment would be to be open to partner with the public sector, because like we said, it's an ecosystem. Is one to look out for opportunities to see how I can make an impact or work with my organization to make an impact in the public sector. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my commitment would be to stay consistent in improving, just like the chairman said. You might plant the tree now, but you might not, participate in eating of the fruit. But the consistency will be the driver ultimately till the end. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my commitment will be to listen more, to be more empathetic. There are people that don't have the resources like you think they have. So you're trying to push them too hard. So you need to listen. You don't see 360, as she said. So that being listening and being empathetic will help you to know what constraints people are facing and how to assist them, to help them to be the best despite those constraints. And then you'll be able to encourage them and motivate them even when the road is difficult.
Ahmed.
Can I answer that question in a very slightly different way?
Please, go ahead.
I was wondering, policies, the first sounding board for effective policy implementation is typically the private sector, right? Public sector, whether it's operational, whether it's whatever form your policy is taking, the way the private sector responds to it tells you whether you're doing something right, because at the end of the day, you're servicing the public, and the private sector is the front-facing a lot of times of those. So as a practitioner within that sector, I would make the commitment to not be a yes man, right? To not just criticize for the purpose of criticizing, but also criticizing for the purpose of looking at the objective and how operations are serving that shared objective, which brings me to something that has always bothered me, the Servicom. Servicom is basically a mechanism to report bad service. But how does a private sector practitioner report bad policy implementation? We don't seem to have that mechanism. I think it's something that is important.
Thank you, Ahmad. I think you should connect with Mrs. Aig-Imoukhuede after this session. She's Servicom, basically. So, please go ahead.
In Servicom, we are not just about reporting bad service. We are also encouraging agencies to develop service charter so that people will hold them accountable for the promises they've made. So we don't just report bad service. When you fail to implement what you have promised, that's when bad service occurs. Then people can complain. So that's where we come in. Yeah, I hope you.
Thank you very much. So our final question before we leave this room is, if this group were to reconvene in 1 year, what would progress look like? And who in this room should we hold accountable for it? We are all laughing, but please, we want hands up and responses. If we come back in 1 year, maybe ICSC number 3, and we have this session again, what would progress look like, and who should we hold accountable for that in this room? What this helps us do is to not say public sector will or private sector should. It is I should or I will. So if progress for you is that between now and next year, you have personally done 1, 2, or 3 things, fine, we would love to hear what you have personally done in the space of 1 year. Anybody can go again.
I think progress for me in 1 year again would be not to give up on the project Nigeria. So in 1 year, I should have contributed more to calling out what is not in order, supporting what is in order, and again, assisting with as much data, research, or even advocacy efforts as possible to get things done. So success for me would be that I'm still joining my social media people in calling out what is not used, because that's the most accessible platform, supporting government to implement policies, and then also supporting the private sector, making the private sector see reasons, because I mean I work with NESG, we do a private public kind of relationship setting. So making the private sector see more reasons why they should be interested in public sector reform, that would be success for me.
I have something. You know, the aviation sector is one sector that we don't look at a lot of times, especially when we're talking about public sector. Yes. You know, but the aviation sector, maybe it's because it's a highly documented sector. I work there. So even when the captain is flying, he has flown and merited that position as a captain, but he still uses his checklist to tick off. Oh, flaps are down, this and that. He still ticks off. So it's highly documented, and that's why we say flying is the safest way to travel. Don't mind me, all right? But what I do, or what I promised myself, like my capstone project was, I looked for that gap. It's highly documented, but everything is not perfect. So I looked for that gap, and that's why we came up with that manual for our on-the-job training. You know, so for me, success would be spotting other gaps in my aviation sector, and then sell it in such a way that it flies, because like the OJT manual is still in use till today. It may not have those numbers because aviation is not a sector that everybody is in it, you know, but for everyone who must go through the training to be, because you must be rated and licensed on each equipment, and that's why aviation is, please, whenever you're in an aircraft, feel safe. It's safe. Because every equipment, I don't drive a Volvo and then jump in and drive a Toyota. That's not how it is in aviation. I must be certified to drive a Volvo, certified to drive a Toyota, certified to drive a Mercedes. So I'll just look for those gaps and then bring up the documentations and then sell it in such a way that the public is safer flying. Thank you.
Okay, yes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stella Omona. I write for the Daily Independent. I'm a journalist, and that is why I want to say that in all of this, when you are measuring your success stories, because at the end of the day, it's the people you are working for, we need to carry everyone along. And if we have to build the eco reform system, we need everyone to be on board. And in terms of your stakeholders, there's no way you can reach out to everyone. For instance, there's no way everyone can be in this room at the same time. So I want to appeal both to the government and the private sector to also do a lot of media advocacy. That's why the media is so that we'll be able to project your reforms to the people, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, they are the one. We are the one. Everyone will be affected by your reform. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end. I'll leave my colleague Emmanuel to do a wrap-up for us.
Good evening, everyone. It has been a wonderful and a robust discussion. So I want to sincerely thank all of us for our time. I understand that we could have been somewhere else, but we chose to be here. So thank you so much. And just to wrap up, I want to, I know we have this booklet on our tables. So this is one way the foundation goes to show the wonderful work our alumni is doing. So we can just look through it and appreciate the good works that we've done through our alumni, just to show that reforms actually work. And reforms are working, and all of us, we've all agreed that we are going to play our part to ensure that reforms continue to work. And I'll leave us with the words of our founder. On the first page, it says, if you work alone, you don't go far. If you work with others, you travel further. And we can all agree. We talked about collaboration between MDAs, between departments, and that is what we are going to take out from here. We've all made commitments to do better. We've all made commitments to not just criticize because we want to criticize. We've all made commitment that in the next 1 year, when we reconvene, we are going to share all of these commitments with everybody. So we hold ourselves accountable to them. So by the time we are convening for ICS3, we are going to be asking, even though you're not here, we'll send you an email. We committed to this. How far have we done? And I think that is the one way we can measure not just activity, But like Sheyi said, we are going to be measuring outcomes. And we hope that by the time we are convening next year, we are going to not just have achieved what we are committed, what we committed to do, we exceed what we are committed to do. So thank you so much for coming and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Sorry, before we all leave, we have. I crave your attention for 1 minute, please. While we are leaving, if you can please go by the Aig-Imoukhuede Foundation booth in the exhibition center. We want to have pictures just right outside. Thank you.
Sorry, we want to do. Yeah, we're not coming. We want to do it here. Yeah. So some people will sit and people will stand. Sorry, everyone. Please, we're going to do group pictures here. So some of us will sit and then people will stand behind. That's what we're looking at doing. Thank you so much.